With Nav Easy Security is a set of new permission sets also delivered. They are intended for segregation of duties, but can be used for many other purposes and can really save a lot of time when setting up security inside NAV. They are based on task, basically task in the finance, sales, purchase, and inventory area. The permission sets has been recorded all the way from 2009 to the latest NAV version. They have been tested both in W1, North America, and the German database. So out of the box, currently they actually work in 18 different versions of NAV out here. You can add extra recordings to those one, of course, the same way as anything else. So if you have customization or ISV solutions, there's an easy way of actually correcting those by adding an extra recording in there. Those recording can also be moved forward, of course, to next version of NAV. So when we will ship a future version of our permission sets and you have upgraded your database, it is possible to combine all this data, and you don't really have to deal with what Microsoft have changed because our permission sets will be dealing with that. To log into NAV, you would need some additional permission sets also. And depending on what part of our solution you use, you need different permission sets. One to gain access to NAV and another one to gain access to objects. And then in the case of using Quick Security, you would actually also gaining another permission set that will give you the general level of data access, and then only use these permission sets for the things you had denied, of course. All the included permission sets works inside NAV Easy Security, of course, and you can find them in the installation folder and is part of our normal process when we install the solution to add these new permission sets to the NAV security system. I want to take a look at these permission sets first in here, and if we go take a look at them, they all start with E underscore in here. And I will see this permission set, customer edit, is for a single task in the system, and it's being based on two individual recordings in here. One is recording version 48, and that is the current version that supports 2009 to 2017. We will be shipping newer version of these recordings in the future, and that will of course allow you to import the new recording plus maintain the old ones if you should have modified them. We also have a recording, and this recording actually has no permissions in it. It is for all the sales receivable roles or permissions in the system that you can add an additional permission in here. So let's say for some reason that every time you were using anything in the sales receivable area, it would need read permission for general ledger setup. You could add it in here, and instead of having to correct all the permission sets for these missing reads, you could simply add it inside the sales receivable fix recording in here. It is especially useful for ISV solutions that often add something that needs to be read every time you open a lot of pages in the system. We have a similar fixed permission set for the purchase payable area, for finance, and for the inventory area, and also for the row centers. But I want to take a look at a spreadsheet instead, because it will give a better overview of these permission sets in here. In the installation folder for Easy Security, there is the files for the SOD permission sets in here, but there's also this Excel file that will explain how the permission sets are intended to be used in here. They are organized by area now, so you can see in here that each of these is a task in NAV: view customer, create customer, edit customer, being able to create the different document types, and also be able to post only shipment, post only invoices, and so on in here. Typically a single task in NAV. And these ones are recorded both for the data access, but also for the object access. So if you ended up denying the customer card, for example, to people, and they got this view customer one, they would actually be able to see the customer card again, because it's just not only the data, it's also the code necessary for execute that. We have also made recordings for each individual journal, so you could go in and actually allow people only to work in the receipt journal, and in that way not be able to suggest vendor payment and things like that one again. We've done the same for purchase payable. We have done it for financial management, allowing to post only one type of GL in here. And then for the inventory, it does not cover the complete application in NAV, but it's very easy to follow the same scheme and do this for ISV solutions or for other parts of NAV if you want to have very precise permission sets. Especially the newer areas of NAV, like manufacturing and warehouse, have better permission sets for segregation of duties, and you could probably use a lot of those ones too in there. We have also included permission set for role centers. Getting the sales order processor role center would allow you to click on all the menu items and in that way see all the data. If you wanted to create a customer, you would of course need the one for the task of creating a customer. The way we have recorded this one is actually by a feature called launching objects, and you can see more about that in a different video, but it's actually really easy to re-record these permission sets for the role centers if you did a lot of changes or you created completely new ones. Getting into NAV, there's two ways we use in our application for very precise security. You need the login permission set and the ability to execute objects we don't care about. If you use quick security, you'll be using the first two parts and then one level of data access in here. And using quick security, you would actually be able to accomplish segregation of duties that will be close to SOX compliance within a few hours, simply by denying the important tables and use the permission sets we deliver. As you now have all these permission sets focused on a single task, you can have somebody else take a look at it and say, what should people working in customer service do? And as you now look at it, this one is now individual task, and you can have an auditor look at it, you can have management look at it. They don't need a deep NAV knowledge any longer to know what's happening in here, because all these ones are now typically a single task that is a commonly known task in finance applications. So the same will happen for other parts of the application in here, where you will simply just have an ability to need those parts in here. Same as what role center should people be having, and then what level of access should they have. If you decide to use quick security, there is different levels if you should have general work access, only read access, or actually super access. You will have a little different one. Everything that is in one column in here basically turns out to be a permission group inside our application at that point. So as you will see these permission groups in the spreadsheet, we also deliver data you can import as sample, so you could actually have similar information inside. So this customer service has been imported, and the files are of course delivered the same place inside the installation folder where we have SOD permission groups in here. So in that way, when you use these permission sets, it gets quite easy to set up security. If there's things you need to do in here, you will be able to simply add your own recording to improve on these ones. And the way we ship this so you can move forward is a really important part also. The way you want it to import for a future version and upgrade permission set would actually be, you would need to go to your permission sets, and under actions and import there is an add new recording feature in here that actually allow you to add a new recording to an existing permission set or a new builder permission. It can also be used if you maintain a multi-installation security system. You could have this data developed in a central database, kind of master data, and then you could basically distribute it. If somebody added a recording out in a local country, you could simply import and add that recording back again in here. The only thing you would have to do is in the local country, instead of having a conflicting number series for the permission builder, you would go in and simply change the recording numbers in here. In that way, there will be no conflict. Each country could have their own number series for recordings, and you could combine everything in a master database in the future. The fact that we actually have recorded these permission sets in many versions of NAV allow a much easier upgrade because we deal with what Microsoft have changed. Going from 2009, you can still use them for setting up initial security, but a lot of times you're going to drop ISV solution, get new solutions or re-implement, and you would need to at least do some work. But getting from 2013 to the latest version with the same application, just the latest one from Microsoft, would actually be pretty doable in here.